What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. Gonna readjust my whole deal here so I'm a little closer to the mic. How we doing tonight? So as the title suggests, we are sculpting out the Beast of Busco this week. Huh. Now, I had a little head start from the last stream. Hang on a second. I just realized that my music is not actually playing through my headphones, which is just super. Yeah, open that up for me. Come on, menu. Normally it just connects right away. Here we go. All right, back to the show. So last night, if you missed it, we're going to put the Beast of Busco aside for just a moment here. And what I did on stream was I made pewter minis. And this is the Mothman that I worked on last week. It's all done. I cleaned up the casting, got it all ready to go. So yeah, these are going to start popping up in my shop next week online. So I'm super excited about that. I'll be running these guys and a couple of the Cyclopses once I have them painted up. To give you an example, actually I can set them here because they stand up on their own. I warped my mat by accident when I was casting these yesterday. I'll show you in a moment how I did that because it is pretty severe. Oop, let me move my mat just a little bit so I'm squared up. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, the Mothman, once he's trimmed up, can stand on his own, but this is basically what they look like before I trim them. Got a bunch of crud down here along the side here. So what I have to do is I have to take a hacksaw, like a little tiny one, and I need to just file this all away. And there's some little bits here and there, but otherwise, I mean, we got 3 of them so far, which is cool. And I'll cast more of these off stream. It doesn't take very long, actually, so it's pretty nice. I can do these up in relatively quick time. So, but enough about the Mothmans tonight. Now, one thing I did do yesterday when I was melting stuff was I had a big, what I believe was pewter ornamental thing, like you'd put like an orb in it for pondering. And I melted that down. And this is the result of that, these bricks. Now, there is one of 3 things this could be. I thought it was pewter, but lead and also tin melt in the same category. Now, it's pretty soft. If I take one of my tools here and just scrape it, you can see where it didn't really hurt the tool, and I've left a mark, right? There's a little thing there that is chiseled out. So it's fairly soft. It has a low melting point, and I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to have to do some testing this week to see what this is before I can even use it on one of the Mothmen. So we're going to set that aside. But we're going to get back to the Beast of Busco. Ta-da. If you're not familiar with the Beast of Busco as a cryptid, all you really need to know is it is a giant turtle from northern Indiana. And that's it. It's just a big turtle. So how do I incorporate that into a miniature that I'm going to cast out of pewter? So I've made a boat. I've got the start of a boat here. And what I'm trying to figure out now is how do I want this piece to come together? Like, do I want it to look like he's climbing the boat? So it'll be something like that. Do I want it to look like he's smashing through it? Or like climbing on a little bit, like the boat's capsizing? Because if I do that, then I need to figure out a good way to like fill in underneath here so I don't have any big gaps when I go to make a mold. So we're gonna experiment with that design a little bit, because yeah, like this would work. Maybe if I did it more like that and could trim off about there so it would sit like this. I kind of like that, but I feel like I need to work the pose then, like, because I want the front of the boat to be up. Or we could do this kind of a deal. Again, I feel like whatever we do, we should add some splintering and some like ruined effects to the boat. And then that also dictates like the pose for the beast. And I want to try to avoid doing a lot of work underneath as much as possible. I'd like for this part to be flat, so it could also be like the boat's crashed into him a bit. The boat needs to be a little bit smaller. But according to the legends, the turtle shell was 6 feet long, so an 8 foot long boat would be about like that. So I guess that's a true to size boat for this cryptid. Like just a little fishing boat, little rowboat thing. So I think, yeah, if we do this, and then I can still fill in underneath to not have to worry about having too much to clean up. I'm trying to decide how much of the boat I want to have disappeared, so to speak. Like what's going to be visible underneath of our beast. All right, I think if I go like this about here, I'm just going to go right straight down like that. Okay. Because then the whole thing can rest like that. Try a little bit more. I accidentally challenged myself with this piece when I was asking people what they thought I should sculpt next. So we do it like this, and then that leaves quite a bit to have to fill in. So, because shells are not flexible. That's our main problem with our Beast of Busco here. The rest of him is flexible, that shell is not. So if we do it like this, where maybe the boat is busted up like that, put this piece back together as much as we can, and then have that over here, make it look like it's splintered. The way that foot's up, why don't we do it on the other side? So we have that one there, and then we can bring that part like that. It's kind of cool, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of pewter to fill that mold. I just don't know how to best like, I guess it could put like a person on his back or something like that. Because I don't want to keep messing with it until we've figured out a really good way to show the perspective of the Beast of Busco. So, because otherwise, yeah, it's just a big snapping turtle, and that's all we're going to have. We've kind of patched our boat back together while we figure this out. I kind of like the idea of him crawling through the boat here, like splinter this part out, make it look like he's broken out parts of it, and then I can kind of keep everything a bit flatter. Some of this detailing from making it look like the boat's busted out will probably have to come after I've baked the boat, and I can actually take like a Dremel to it and do all the other things I want to do. Like this would be fine. Like him crashing into the boat, busted the boat out. Like I can add in the wood here, like it's splintered off. The other side doesn't necessarily have to be seen. Okay. And by the way, according to the legends of the Beast of Busco, it never attacked anybody. it never capsized a boat. It didn't eat anyone. It just people saw it and they went, "Holy shit, what a giant turtle that is." Okay, I like the idea that we have here where he sits like so and the whole boat's kind of like been busted out. One thing I'm going to do is really thin it up back here where the body sits. And again, I can go through with a Dremel and do a lot of that. Just take my time, like removing bits and pieces here and there until I feel like it sets the way I want it to. I suppose I could always just attach like a piece of wood to them, add that dynamic. All right, well, we'll work on the beast first and then we'll go to the boat. Because this is what the whole stream is actually supposed to be about, is this guy. Now, I'm basing this off of a common snapping turtle, not an alligator snapping turtle, as the legend also kind of said it could be. Just because it was northern Indiana and alligator snapping turtles just don't live there. They just don't live there. That's a south kind of animal. Forgot a couple of my tools in my little box over here. So they kind of have a bit of a flatter face like that. Move the clay around. I'm not going to go for a whole down the throat perspective. It'll just lose what it is. probably go ahead and remember to pull up some reference so I can get the face a bit more correct. The skin texture I know already. I've seen plenty of snapping turtles in my life. Okay. Just pulling up a little reference picture or two here. That's a good one, and that's a good one. Okay. Yeah, those are good. Okay. One thing I think I can do actually is I can have both just a turtle and the Beast of Busco at the same time if I make the boat separate from the turtle. And I can just make pewter snapping turtles. Like that'd be pretty cool. I gotta remember to put the little worm tongue in its mouth. Okay, let's try and work on getting this beak just right. It's very small, so I'm gonna have to work at that. Okay, we're gonna smooth in everything here on the bottom. Basically, any detail that's not going to be seen, we're just going to flatten out. Blend together. Okay. Hmm. Clay in my tail's armature is not sticking as well as I had hoped. Okay. Well, let's detail the face so then we can leave it alone since they have that big scale plate on their head. And then we can move on to skin texture. This guy's going to go by really fast, actually. Like I said, it's just big turtle. Just a big turtle. So what else can we do? Now, the best way for me to do teeny tiny eyes, I guess is going to be with the needle tool here, or this end that I kind of smoothed out. They're very round. And very high up on the face, about here, since they're right next to the nose. Well, that's looking real weird. Okay. The head shape is not quite right. We've kind of got 1980s Mario movie Goomba mouth going on. Yeah, I know, not a lot going on tonight here, is there? It's just me making a big turtle. Welcome to the stream if you're watching. Well, the clay's barely on the wire now. Jeez. Okay. Well, we're getting closer here, actually. I feel like the form is definitely down now. The face looks a bit better. A little too smiley. Kind of accidentally went a little too far with that like crocodile smile that turtles kind of have a little bit. Like this side looks okay. This side is lacking a little. I've done the same thing on both sides, so I don't know why I like it better on one side and not the other. Maybe once I add in like where the eye is going to go, I'll feel better about it. First, I need to find something to put the eye spot on with because if I'm going to keep moving it around and doing stuff, I need to have a better way of doing this. I think I found it. Okay, there we go. This is a jewelry topper I've got. We're just going to press the eye right in here. So one. That is absolutely the perfect sized eye. Okay. Definitely right now looks a bit like a cartoon character. We open the mouth extra wide, as snapping turtle do. There. Still looks a bit like a happy puppy, but, you know. We're doing our best, and that's what matters. Let's actually cut up the bag that these little jewelry things came in. They came in these teeny tiny little Ziploc bags. And, oh, there's a little loop tool I can use from now on. We're going to try and press the eye in one more time here. Hold it from this side. Oh boy, I really scrunched in the face there, didn't I? Oh no, he's derpy. Uh-oh. Yeah, he's not quite right now. That side looks okay. That side needs a little work. See if we can't fix this a little bit by just moving the clay around. The eyes aren't quite that sunk in. They're actually not even in the right spot. So we're just going to put some clay back over those and try again. And I think I know the best. I think I just realized a good way to do this. So first off, fill the face back in. Okay. So the eyes should go further back, like right about there. I keep hearing something drop on my USB and then pick back up. I have no idea what it is, but it's starting to get annoying. I'll just be sitting here and suddenly I hear it. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. I don't know what's doing it. All right, so now that we have the form, we're going to put the eyelids on it, since they do have some pretty prominent eyelids that I'm seeing here. So let's go with this one and that piece. One of those things is not like the other. All right, so I'm going to take this. Well, press in the nostrils. These need to be a little flatter against the head. So does the eye, for that matter. Like this whole section is much flatter. Why is this so hard for me to get? First off, we're going to change up the mouth so it doesn't look so happy. I'm tired of seeing happy, angry monster turtle. I've got like 3 pictures up here so I can get this down, and I am just having hell of a time. Okay, we need to rectangle this out more, first of all. Lower jaw sits back behind. Okay. Really just smashed it in more than anything else now. Okay. There's all these side profile pictures I've got. There aren't a lot of good forward-facing pictures. So that way I can see exactly how the head is shaped. There, finally. All right. Now, I am already starting to feel a little tired, gang. I need to widen the head out. The head needs to be wider and slopes more like that towards the back of the head. And also the head angles more. Right now I have it in a very unnatural pose. The sideways is fine. Oh, well, that's the exact almost pose I needed. Just press that back. And then, yeah, now I can just widen out the head. Leaving it kind of flat, though, does add a bit of like a weird, menacing, I guess more dragon-y look to it. We're not going for dragon. We're going for total realism snapping turtle. we're just going to redo the whole thing because I've smushed it into oblivion at this point. And you can see the armature wire there was starting to stick through, so we need to rebury that. Okay, gonna bring the feet back out. So they were a little lost in the translation there for a moment. This one needs to definitely kind of cut more since that's the way the skin holds. Same there. Yeah, I think maybe if we do it this way so it's more flat, and then the head can be sticking out the hole we've made in the boat. I think that's going to be a really cool look. The way the head hangs, we need to actually have it go down like this. There we go. And then get the feet where it needs to be. All right, that should be good. And this way I can also like attach the claws in places, so it'll all be in its own little base. And I think I could cheat by making water and then just taking the back legs off a bit so they're not showing the toes. But again, that would be cheating. All right. Well, honestly, gang, I think that's going to be it for tonight. It's not going to be a super long stream, but thank you for joining me anyway if you did. And also, thank you for joining me in the VODs. If you stop by and you hang out and you just listen in the background as I sit here and like talk to myself and ramble for a while. Thank you so much. I still appreciate it a whole bunch. So thank you all so much. Have a great evening. Have a good tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow for my last stream of the week. And then I will be updating my Patreon also. If you want to go and check out my Patreon, link in my bio. Link to my Instagrams there also. So thank you all so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you later. Bye.